Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's really a big pleasure for me to tell a little bit about the history story of GRIMME in India and all the findings which we did have over the years. Just very quick, if I go through through the topics of my presentation. First, I just would like to have a view on the potato production in India. In the session number 2 today, there was this question already, and I also just would like to show one slide we put together there for getting some findings out of this. Then, very quickly, I would like to describe the findings from GRIMME in the early stages. Then we formed a joint venture here in India with the company Shaktiman, which I'm going to talk about, and finally a little bit a view forward. Here is now an overview of the potato production in India from 1960 to 2050. Virtually in 1960, India started growing potatoes, where potato growing was more or less zero. Right now, we are at around about 60 million tons, second in the world behind China, which is 95 million tons. Then I put a prediction there, 125 million tons in 2050. This is not coming from us. This actually is coming from the ICAR, from the Indian Council of Agricultural Research, and the CPRI, the Central Potato Research Institute. If we look now at this increase, what does it mean? Firstly, great future for potatoes in India. But secondly, if I visit some farmers here in India, I always hear that there's a problem with shortage of labor. If we now see the increase, which is going to happen here in India, will there be enough labor to double the production in the next 25 years? I don't see this labor, and therefore there's also a force for farmers to mechanize. Besides the advantages of producing higher quality potatoes and higher yields with mechanization. If I now come to the first steps of GRIMME in India, I just show you a few photos. Usually photos say more than 1,000 words about machines which we exported from Germany here to India. It was the potato planter, and on the potato planter we had to do already a lot of modifications to make it suitable for the conditions in India. Where we've been really quite successful. But then you see 4 slides of harvesters, 2 windrowers and a single row bunker machine, a 2-row elevator machine, where we thought that this could be suitable for India. But there we find out that this was not really the case. If I just highlight the challenges we experienced, the availability of the tractor size in India really did mean a big limitation to the machines which we offer from Germany. Also, small field sizes caused a lot of challenges for larger machines. Also, operator skills always have been a challenge to operate the machines in a proper professional way. Then I forgot financing for our higher price machines. If we import machines from Germany, Europe is not a cheap production place. Besides transport costs and import costs for duty, etc., the price added up really quite high. So, what have been the conclusions? Our conclusions were what we need for India: smaller, lighter machines, with the idea to operate those machines from 45 horsepower onwards. Then simple, straightforward design, not too complicated and sophisticated. And then we also wanted to make sure we use our worldwide experiences in over 120 countries if we develop new machines. Then adapting local requirements, let it be raw visit, let it be weather conditions, soil conditions. We wanted to make sure that we adapt those in the machines which we offer here in India. And at the end of the day, which I touched on earlier with the prices, local production in India to reduce the costings has been a must for us. So what did that mean? In 2019, we formed a joint venture with the company Shaktiman, or TATPL Shaktiman. Shaktiman is a family-owned company of the 2 Gohil brothers, as well as GRIMME. So I have to say, I really was surprised how close the mentality of those two companies have been together. And this was formed in 2019. The philosophy of our joint venture was to offer market entry root crop solutions. We did not have only potatoes in mind. We also had onions, turmeric, garlic, etc. on the agenda. And important, those machines should be able to operate by smaller tractors, 45 HP onwards. Yeah, and then one other philosophy was we did not want to offer just single machines. We wanted to make sure that we grow or that we offer a complete farming solutions to the customers, where every machine matches up as a next step with the previous one. And then within the joint venture, we developed those 6 machines for the time being, still working on the next steps like a D-pillar, planter, plant topper, windrower, harvester and crop receiver. And I will touch on a few of them. The time will not allow me to talk about every machine. But before I come to the individual machines, just one photo of the assembly line from Shaktiman in Rashkot. This is really an assembly line of the highest standard, which also could be seen in Germany in the same way. So we did not want to compromise on the quality of the machine, and that's one really big beauty of our joint venture, that we came together with Shaktiman, which have a state-of-the-art production factory. Now, as the next point, I just would like to talk a little bit about the agronomy. I mean, later on I come also about future views, but important is, before we go too fast forward in future steps, to make sure we first understand the challenges which growing potatoes brings with them. And what I like on these 2 photos, which you see here, to explain the differences, especially in the rooting of the 2 plants. If you look at the potatoes, this has been done by an institute, this analyzed this photo, where the roots did grow over 40 inches, 100 centimeters. And if you compare that with grain, you know, the roots for grain only grow like 6 to 8 inches, not deeper than that. And this is very, very important to keep in mind, that it's totally different if we grow potatoes or any other crop where the fruit grows above the ground. We have seen a similar photo already today from Joachim Rovers. Like we did see on the other photos, it's important that the root can go down up to 40 inches, 1 meter. And many times, especially after paddy, we do find that there's a hard layer of soil in the ground, and we need to make sure we break this hard layer in the ground. Here just a few photos of typical machines for primary soil preparation, just to have an idea. But on the left side you see a subsoiler. This is a very important tool for the primary soil preparation, besides a plow. A disc plow, like you see on the bottom right, it's the worst thing there is, to be honest. Then for secondary soil preparation, you see photos. Most farmers use a cultivator, like you see on the left side, or a rotavator on the right side. And the biggest challenge there is that with these machines for the secondary soil preparation, they drive 3 times, 4 times lengthwise, crosswise, diagonal over the field, to make sure the soil looks very nice from the top. For potatoes, it's not nice. It's not important how the soil looks from the top. For potatoes, you have to look into the ground. And here, just a photo which I took somewhere, where you can see even the tractor wheelings crosswise, and they were going to plant potatoes now in the direction I marked with the white arrow. And if you imagine you plant potatoes here in this field, and that's why I have the photo on the right-hand side, how deep the roots grow. How can the roots grow that deep if just a tractor wheel has been driving over the spot where we want to plant the potatoes? Yeah, therefore we suggest what we call our D-pillar. This is a machine which has a rotor of 75 centimeters, so 30-inch diameter, which really can, which we see on the next slide, a comparison, on the bottom you can see our D-pillar, which can work up to 8 to 10 inches, 20 to 25 centimeters. Compared to just a normal rotavator, it hardly works normally only up to 3 inches. Very seldom you see them even working deeper than 3 inches. And if we look now to the right-hand side, you know, there on the top, you see how little loose soil is available for the crop to grow in. I mean, everybody would like to harvest 20 tons per acre, you know, 50 tons per hectare, or Joachim even had 60 tons per hectare in his slide. But those potatoes need room. Where shall those potatoes grow if we only have that much little soil? We need a really decent potato ridge, so the tubers can develop really proper in the ridge. And even more important is it if we look in the future for mechanized harvesting, that, I don't know if you can see that, there's a dotted line in those two drawings on the left-hand side where the potato share is going to work. And on the top one, you are bound to pick up a big amount of clods. And with this machine, we also really make sure that harvest is going to be a lot easier than with traditional systems. Yeah, and what is our recommendations about our cultivation advice? First step, very good primary soil preparation. As a second step, with number 2, using our D-pillar, which is creating 9 inches of loose soil. And then, if the planter comes, important is that the planter is driving exact in the same furrows than the D-pillar. So you can see that there, that the area where the potato gets planted, no tractor wheel has been driving over this area. So it's really very good for the roots to go down, to suck water also out of deeper levels, out of deeper areas. Yeah, now I just would like to show also one slide of a plant topper, which many times, in my opinion, also really gets underestimated. With the plant topper is not the only work to cut the tops of the plant. And you see on the left-hand side, and I've seen many fields, especially if you come later into February or into March, where weeds start to grow very fast with the rising temperatures. And if you then go right now with the digger into the field, the majority of the crop gets buried by weeds. So it's a huge job for the pickers to find all those potatoes. But secondly, the losses also will be a lot higher. Then on the right side, the photo which you see. Many farmers want to make 2 or 3 crops a year. So direct after potato harvest, they start cultivation, and then they pull all the haulm to the end of the field. But all this haulm is organic material. So if we shred this in small pieces, bring it even, transfer it even in the field, it's also natural fertilization, which we do with that. So plant toppers have such a huge advantage, which really get underestimated. That's why I also just wanted to touch on this before we only talk about robotic and digital systems. So there are many other basics which we also need to look on before we start to go too fast. Yeah, then one of my favorite machines, the windrower. This is a machine which we developed totally new at Shaktiman GRIMME, because I mentioned earlier that all the machines should be able to operate with tractors from 45 to 50 horsepower. This maybe needs even 55, but the idea was with this, we can fold up the second web to move the center point of gravity closer to the tractor, so the tractor is able to lift it. And we still have the possibility of using 2 webs in the machine. And we actually got granted a silver medal at the Agritechnica in 2023 for this unique innovation. And now here just a photo of a comparison between our windrower and a local digger, where you can see optical-wise already what kind of difference this is going to make. Besides the higher speed, also the losses have been lower there with our windrower. Just one other field, this is the combination of the soil preparation. I mentioned our D-pillar, you know, the subsoiler using a D-pillar. And then on the left-hand side, our windrower. This is a test a farmer made. One and the same field, Shaktiman GRIMME drawing system on the left, traditional system on the right side. If you imagine you want to pick potatoes on the right side, how difficult is it to find the potatoes between all those big clods? Yeah. Then also one complete new development is the harvester for India, a small compact machine which can get pulled up to with tractors from 45 horsepower. It can load potatoes onto existing trolleys. I think there are over 1 million trolleys available of this type. We can put 4 people at the moment at the back of the machine for final sorting. So also a huge step towards mechanization. Now a slide of countries in which we export those machines already, because in many countries around the world are similar conditions like in India in terms of growing conditions, in terms of tractor sizes, in terms of field sizes, etc. And here you can see already a collection of countries into which we export our machines successfully. If I now start with my view forward, 1 or 2 pictures you may have seen already in the presentation from Jochen here. A 4-row planter, but it's not only 4-row planters, you also can see the combination of a front D-pillar, including a spraying attachment and a planter in the back. The idea is that one person, first of all, instead of 2, is doing 4 rows, and instead of 2 working steps in 1 working step. So really to maximize the output per labor person. Yeah, then the next step, harvesters. We see also 2-row bunker machines as a very interesting step going forward. First of all, with the bunker, the machine is able to run in the field without trailers having to drive alongside with it at the same time. And the bunker can unload on trucks or other higher transport vehicles. But on the right-hand side, you can see there's also a special separator in the machine, which is able to take out remaining clods. That ideally you have no people on the machine. If you want to send them direct to the market, for example, long-term for table potatoes, you even have the possibility to add a few people on the machine. Then even further forward, this is still a few years ago, but nevertheless, if we see how fast the processing industry goes forward here in India, I also can see self-propelled harvesters coming soon. So that the capacity is a lot faster, because the harvest window is getting smaller and smaller, and if you want to harvest the potatoes at the optimum time, these machines can run 24 hours a day to really get out the potatoes very fast in an efficient way, and also very gentle, because as more potatoes you handle in one go, as more gentle this is also is. Now just for the view forward, a picture I put together. We have seen similar ones in Sundra's presentation, where we talk about data management. On the bottom one, you can see the production line for potatoes, from soil preparation, planting, weeding, irrigation, spraying, topping, harvesting, logistics, storaging. There will be, with every machine in the future, some sensors in the machine which send information into a cloud. Besides of that, there will be information coming from satellites, which you see on the left, information from weather stations, information from drones, and I'm sure there will be some other external information flows. And the important part is to get all those information from the different machines joining together in one system. And then on the right side, you see on the top a PC, that in the office data gets collected. Then further on the right, this is the control terminal on a harvester. That data gets used already on the harvester to do the optimum job. And last not least, on the mobile phone, which we see there on the bottom side, that everybody also has constant the important data and KPIs in front of him on his mind. So making the circle around and trying to use the right data. You know, at the end of the day, it's not the amount of data, it's a matter of collecting the right data and taking the right conclusions out of this data. That's what we are very strongly working on. And in India, I see that weather station got used, soil sensors got used. On first planters, we have data with GPS where we exactly position where it has been done. On sprayers, the first one are working already. So step by step, I can see this complete picture also coming also in India. Yeah, that was my presentation. I mean, here you can see a future robot, which Sunja also had, and is already doing the topping, the harvesting, everything in one go. And yeah, just tried to focus on the most important points. I would have liked to talk for 1 hour here, but the time is not providing for that. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me, to contact all our team. We are here for 3 days, yeah, and we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you very much.